Live. To add Instagram to our stream. But welcome everybody to our first Workforce Edge Live. I am your host, Christine McLean Lewis, and I am the marketing manager here at One on One. And today I have with me Mr. Andre Campbell, who is a senior. Andre, remind me of your title again. It just went
uh,
out of my head.
Senior Manager, Learning Programs and Innovation for Sandals Resorts.
Amen. All right. So he's a senior manager for learning programs and innovation at Sandals Resorts. And we are going to be talking about a very important topic. AI at work. Is your team putting company data at risk? So this is supposed to be a rapid fire discussion. So for my Instagram viewers, I know that you can't really see him right now because I'm trying to find the stream key. I can't find the stream key, but I'm going to sort it out. But Andre, we're just going to be talking for 15 minutes. And we are going to be starting with how employees may already be using AI tools at work without clear guidance. What are some of the things that employees may actually be doing now that may be putting company data at risk?
So, morning everyone. Thanks for having me, Christine. If you think about it, persons and companies may believe that AI is still new, but actually, we have been using it for some time. And when you think about now in the workplace, a lot of persons are using it, whether you as the manager is conscious or you're not conscious of it, right? So, for example, if you look at HR practitioners, a lot of them are using it to write job descriptions, to draft interview questions. If you look at it from a learn and development standpoint, a lot of us use it to create training content, to design a quiz, or even to build presentations. And in finance, where it gets a little bit tricky, you find that
Mm-hmm.
persons use it to draft reports and also to summarize reports and financial data that they'll be having. And I know you're in marketing, Christine.
Yes.
A lot of persons in marketing will use it to do graphics or even to do copy for a lot of their material as well. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's really used in a lot of ways in the workplace, and we use AI instinctively now because it's easier. It makes life easier. It makes it easier to complete our processes and our tasks and those types of things.
Mhm.
But when we are using AI, what types of company customer or employee data should not be placed into AI tools?
That's a very good question. And the challenge we have is that our employees are using the tools, but they don't know what to put in there. So that question is so profound, right? So
Mm-hmm.
if we take let's go back to the list Rose I gave you a while ago. If you take, for
Mm-hmm.
example, the person who's in finance, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you mention it, I will use an AI tool because I say I want to be more efficient. Told the boss that I'll get the report Friday, but you know what? If I drop it in AI, he can get it Tuesday. So
Right.
you should never, in the scheme of wanting to be efficient, never use your financial reports as data that you dump into a AI tool. You also don't want to give away your secret sauce, right? So if you have a strategic plan and you're an entrepreneur, never drop your strategic plan in an AI tool, right? You also, if you're thinking about doing some expansion, but you say, let me ask Claude or Chat to kind of work through how I do this expansion. If you're expanding, don't drop that expansion plan in your chat, right? That becomes public to everybody and they can search and look for that, right? Also, if you're in finance again, and finance is a big one when it comes on to the whole data privacy conversation. If you're doing an internal audit or you're auditing anybody else and you're trying to be quick and fast with that audit summary, that is something you don't want to drop in there as well. And also, very important, your board documents. So those are some documents that and some files you definitely don't want to put in there, right?
Mhm.
So yeah.
Right. Right. Agree. So the sensitive information, and there's another consideration I have with regards to this too, Andre. So
Mhm.
because I'm in marketing, I do a lot of graphics and things like that.
Mhm.
Should I be putting people's images into like Chat GPT and Claude? Is it safe to do that?
No, what I would say is, and for some companies, you may have a image rights policy that you may sign,
Mm-hmm.
right? If it
Mm-hmm.
is that you've signed your images for use with the company, then it would be allowed for the you to use that person's likeness to do some generation, right? But if that
Mm-hmm.
policy does not exist, I would say stay away from that. It's important, and you said it a while ago, it's someone's personal information and data, right? Your likeness is also a part
Mm-hmm.
of your data, right?
Mm-hmm.
So stay away from using someone's likeness if you don't have their permission. And similar, I could use that even my hospitality background. You don't want to enter someone's passport number, their name, their credit card details. We come across all of that data in the day to day in terms of the hospitality sector. So
Right.
those are things you definitely need to stay away from. And you touch on marketing. There is this flyer set up now that I see flying around. It irks me to see it. And I think you know which one I'm
So
referring to.
obviously.
Yes, yes, that one. It's something I want to raise. Creatives will never be put out of business because of AI, because of stuff like that. So
Okay.
marketers and person who's in the creative arts and so, don't be fooled. AI will not replace you, right? Because it's almost becoming one dimensional now. How those flyers are looking, it's just the same thing being repeated.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. You can tell just by looking that Chat GPT created this or Claude created that. Yeah, so
Correct.
true. And as we speak about these different AI tools, I actually have a little poll here. I know that we have at least one person viewing, so I'm going to put up this poll. And can you tell us what AI tool do you regularly use at work? Do you use Chat GPT? Do you use Claude? Do you use something else? Let us know. We're going to keep the poll up for a little bit as we go into our next question. So, Andre, after we have discussed all of this stuff about how people are using AI and being really mindful about the data and the information and the inputs that we give to these AI tools,
Mhm.
why should all of this matter for business leaders? Why should they care?
Okay. So think about data as property or money, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've read some research and I've found out that data is going to become one of the most valuable resources sometime in the future. Could be 5 years, could be 10 years, right? Now, it becomes very important now for us to protect that data. Here's why. Um, if you think of it from an employee standpoint, we need confidence as an employee to know that our employer is protecting our data, right? So it's
Right.
going to enable employee trust, right? Also, as a manager, think about it from this standpoint. I have done a performance evaluation on multiple team members. I need to ensure that that is not being put out there in the world, right, for everybody to see. So it also
Mm-hmm.
allows us to create a sort of a balance, right? And if you look at it from a business perspective, you've seen in the media time and time again that there have been a lot of breaches in terms of data, right? If
Mm-hmm.
you have a company and people realize that their data that they've given to you is somehow being spread all over the internet, you literally lose the trust of your clients, and in turn, you lose money. And we
Right.
know business to make money. So if you lose your customer base, you're literally going out of business, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at it from a Caribbean perspective, also, we need to protect the data that we have in the Caribbean because when we start adding our information to the wider data pool, it sort of becomes diluted, right? Where
Mm-hmm.
you can't really tell what is distinctively or authentically Caribbean. It becomes mixed up with Europeans, it becomes mixed up with what's happening in the States. So we have to ensure that we protect our data. And those are some of the critical reasons why data privacy is becoming it's a hot topic, but we
Mm-hmm.
need to ensure we empower our team members and the general public about how important it is. Yeah.
And as you speak about empowering our teams and the general public, what should businesses really be teaching their teams about AI and data protection and data privacy?
Okay. So when you think about where we are now as and we operate in the global south, AI and data privacy, they are still buzzwords. The
Mm-hmm.
average Jamaican, the average St. Lucian, they can tell you in depth what AI is or what data privacy is. And if you even went as high level and you start quoting some of these different ISOs related, policies related to data privacy, you
Mm-hmm.
confuse them even greater, right? So what
Mm-hmm.
we need to focus on in terms of getting people up to par is AI literacy, right? We need to start training people on what AI is, what it isn't, its strengths, and also the limitations, right? What we
Mm-hmm.
find is people will just prompt anything and don't know the implications, right? We also
Right.
need to teach them about proper prompt writing. So we need to always have to teach them basically that yeah, you need to have context. You need to focus on what the objectives are when you prompt. The audience you want the prompts to be basically generated for, and also the constraints in which you operate in. And
Mm-hmm.
also, very important, we need to verify whatever AI gives us.
Mm-hmm.
AI has a tendency to want to please us, right? Please us to a point where it gives us gibberish and rubbish. So we can prompt, but we should always verify. That's how the human element comes in. We need to ensure that we verify. And when you look at data privacy in terms of what we should be teaching our empowering team members, is that we should ensure that basically we allow team members to understand that they have a sandbox and they need to operate within that sandbox. We need to
Mm-hmm.
tell them what data they can basically put into the AI tools and allow
Mm-hmm.
them to understand that this is the risk if you enter my company details, and also tell them that yes, in the way or in the scheme of wanting to be efficient, there are ways that you can expose the company, and this is the way in which you don't expose the company. So basically giving them the constraints of how to operate. Yeah.
Right, right. And giving them the constraints of how to operate is leading into the next question, which speaks about training. So, if
Mhm.
we're supposed to be giving them these constraints, how can we train them effectively so that they understand these constraints, one, but we're also able to reduce the risk that is associated with team members using these AI tools?
So that's a very good question, Christine.
Mm-hmm.
I would say the first thing we need to start with, and this is where we find a lot of companies are weak, is to start with a AI or a data privacy policy. You
Mm-hmm.
need a policy to basically govern exactly how things are done, right? So have your policy. It should be clear. Don't do anything too high level. You can leave that to the technical persons. The average team member is not going to understand what ISO XXX is
Mm-hmm.
or what Claude is in the back end. Keep it simple, keep it very clear. You see, the foundation is the policy, right? Once you
Mm-hmm.
have your policy set up, you need a list of approved tools. Okay, so if Christine, you say you want to use chat, or my team wants to use Microsoft Copilot, we know that
Mm-hmm.
these are the approved tools. And then also, you need to set up in terms of the policy what acceptable use looks like. Those would be
Mm-hmm.
the three foundation things you set up, right? And
Mm-hmm.
there's also some, it may be a little bit, it can be cheap, it could be also expensive. Persons have started to also create their own models, right? So those models basically only have data related to the company, so it won't reference anything outside of the organization. And
Mm-hmm.
that's what already in there is basically what is approved by management or your executives. So you basically just you can operate within that sandbox, and what you get is actually what the company wants you to get. Another thing that is very important is also to when you do the teaching and learning, give
Mm-hmm.
persons practical scenarios about things, right? So, for example,
Mm-hmm.
ask them, can you upload your customer's email, right? When they answer the question no, walk through the pros and cons of why you should or shouldn't upload someone's email. So you basically
Right.
build it around your organizational context. So if you're in finance, build those practical scenarios around finance. I'll always default back to hospitality. If I'm in hospitality, hospitality context with the scenarios. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Got it, got it. And we're actually on point and on time, Andre. So let me ask one final question. If you were to say in two sentences, what matters most about AI and data protection, what would you say?
I would
In
say
your-
that the organization that succeed won't necessarily be the ones that are the most advanced in terms of AI. They'll be
Mhm.
the ones that build the most AI ready workforce. That would be my two sentence. Well, kind of a long sentence, but that would be so. Build up the capacity of your team members to ensure that
Right.
they're ready for when it actually hits you. So you guys are going full speed ahead. Yeah.
And I love that Andre mentioned building up the capacity of your team members because we actually have a workshop that's coming up. It's a AI and data protection workshop. I'm trying to get the flyer to come up on the screen, but this is just not working with me today. But
It's up on mine. It's up on
it's up
mine.
on yours. Okay, good. As long as somebody's seen it. So we would love to have you join us. Those who are watching live and those who will watch the recording, we would love to have you join us for this free AI and data protection workshop. It's on July 16. And I will have the flyer up on all our social media platforms. You can register your teams and have them join this important training session to really master the whole idea and the whole concept of AI and data protection and AI and data privacy. Andre, this was supposed to be a 15-minute conversation. I think we did well with our time. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and your insights. If people want to reach out to you for whatever reason or to learn more about AI and data protection, how can they find you?
They can check me on my LinkedIn for sure.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if can I drop the link.
Not for the live. You can probably put a comment. You see where it says comments? You
Okay,
can post a comment.
let me drop my LinkedIn there. Where is that? Comments? Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Join the chat. Oh, it's letting me join YouTube.
All right.
Let me quickly just drop that in.
So if you want to reach out to Andre, because he has a lot of knowledge about this topic and about a lot of topics related to training and innovation in training, you can connect with him on LinkedIn. He's dropping his LinkedIn URL in the comment section. So you'll see the URL in LinkedIn and you'll see the URL on YouTube as well. Found it,
Uh,
Andre?
it's not allowing me to verify. Let me try one last time. And it says we're having some issues. But if you search for me on LinkedIn, it's Andre
Mhm.
Campbell, and it would be the picture that's on the flyer that Christine would have shared. So that's where you could find me. Yeah.
Right, right. And if anything, I'll just drop the link as well when we post the recording. So
Yeah.
thank you so much, Andre. And I appreciate the two people who joined. The recording will be available for all to see. And we look forward to having you at our free AI and data protection workshop that's coming up on July 16. So thank you, everyone. Bye.
Bye, Christine. Thank you.